Let me tell you something that's gonna make your crypto wallet feel like a house on fire. Imagine you're the ultimate skeptic of centralized finance, you've spent years railing against banks, and suddenly you're sitting there, staring at your Coldcard wallet, wondering if the most secure hardware on the planet just got pawned by a bunch of script kiddies in a Discord server. That's exactly what happened this week. Over $116 million vanished from Coldcard wallets in a matter of days, and the worst part? It wasn't even a phishing scam or a stolen private key. It was a flaw so subtle, it's like finding a backdoor in a vault because the lock had a typo in its code. What makes this really interesting is how it exposes the fragile illusion of security we've all been clinging to in the crypto space. Coldcard was marketed as the gold standard for cold storage, offline, air-gapped, unassailable. But turns out, the real enemy wasn't hackers with supercomputers. It was a software update that took a shortcut, and that shortcut became a master key for anyone who knew how to reverse engineer the pattern. Personally, I think this is a wake-up call for every self-custody enthusiast out there. You can't just assume that cold means safe. It means you have to trust the engineering behind the device more than you trust your own paranoia. And let's be honest, how many of us actually read the fine print about entropy generation in our wallet's recovery process? I sure didn't. What this really suggests is that the entire ethos of decentralization is built on a foundation of human error. We're all just trusting code written by fallible humans, and when that code takes a shortcut, the whole system becomes vulnerable. Now, here's where it gets even wilder. The hackers didn't even need to touch the device. They just needed to know that Coldcard's recovery phrases followed a predictable pattern. That's like finding out your neighbor's house has a lock that only uses even-numbered combinations, and then using that knowledge to crack every door in the neighborhood. And the kicker? This wasn't a one-off. Over the past 6 months, there've been 207 crypto hacks, but somehow the total losses are lower than they were last year. That's not a sign of progress, it's a sign that the industry is just getting better at hiding the bloodbath. I mean, if you're a hacker, you'd rather hit a $2.3 billion target than a $972 million one, right? But this Coldcard exploit. It's like the perfect storm of technical negligence and human overconfidence. And now we're watching the aftermath unfold. CoinKite, the company behind Coldcard, issued an open letter that's more heartbreaking than any crypto crash I've ever seen. They're not just admitting fault, they're begging users to move their funds, knowing full well that some of those users might be holding life savings. What many people don't realize is that this isn't just about losing money. It's about losing trust in the very systems we built to protect ourselves. The irony here is that the people who got hacked are the ones who were most vocal about avoiding centralized platforms. Now they're scrambling to move their coins to exchanges like Binance or Coinbase, the very entities they once called the enemy. And let's not forget Changpeng Zhao's recent tweet, "I'm a believer in self-custody, but it puts the burden on you." That's not just a disclaimer, it's a confession. Because the truth is, self-custody isn't a choice. It's a responsibility. And when that responsibility is undermined by a flaw in the tools we rely on, what do we do? Do we double down on the belief that decentralization is the answer, or do we admit that maybe, just maybe, we need better safeguards? This raises a deeper question: is the crypto industry actually prepared for the scale of its own success? Or are we just papering over cracks with more code, hoping no one notices? A detail I find fascinating is how quickly the market reacted, or didn't react. Bitcoin and Ethereum both dropped less than 1% despite this disaster. That's either a sign of resilience or a sign that the market's already priced in all this chaos. Either way, it's a reminder that emotion doesn't always drive crypto prices. Sometimes, it's just algorithmic bots and institutional investors sipping coffee while the rest of us panic. If you take a step back and think about it, this hack isn't just about Coldcard. It's about the entire ecosystem. It's about how we measure security, how we trust code, and how we define safe in a world where nothing is truly offline anymore. And here's the thing, I don't think this is the last we've seen of this. Because if Coldcard could be compromised by a software shortcut, what's stopping the next big hack from coming from a different angle entirely? The only thing we can do now is ask ourselves one question: are we ready to stop pretending that cold means immune to human error?